Sunnydale, Fillmore, all of us, we wasn't really getting along like that. I mean, at all. You know what I mean? It was like going down in like the 80s, like I say from like 87 to really deep in 89. Like it was like ugly in Frisco. Them 3 years, 87, 88, 89, it was like going down for real. 88 and 89 was the sickest ones. I lost my eye in 89. You know, just Sunnydale, just, you know, you go over there, you shooting up shit, and they coming over here. I mean, it was, you know, I was like in it thick, you know what I mean? Me and my cousin Dewan, we was like, you know, some of the main ones, you know, involved in a lot of just bullshit just going on, and malls, fights, and I mean, whatever, from parties at Irish cultural centers to Meridians, whatever. I mean, it was going down. I mean, it was on some like some LA gang wars type shit back then, you know, but it was on some turf war shit. But it kind of like, you know, the music came by, so I ended up going to Log Cabin, you know, got caught with hella pistols, got caught with like 2 AKs, 30s, a couple pistols, and you know, I ended up had to spend like 10 racks on a lawyer to end up getting to cut myself out from going to YA. You know, I ended up sliding to Log Cabin Ranch, and thank God I did go to Log Cabin Ranch, because you know, they were saying my van was in a drive-by shooting that I was telling you about earlier. My boy JJ ended up got framed for a murder that he didn't do, and ended up getting 25 to life. You know, so I would have been gone if I wasn't in the ranch, because they were saying that he was driving my van and my van was involved. But they came and talked to me and found out that I was locked up during all that stuff. And basically they took him, and like I said, you know, I got out of jail, and all my homies was gone. From my cousin Dewan, he was in YA, JJ got 25, my boy Lou was in the pen, so it wasn't really nobody out. And my boy Budweiser kind of got me into the music thing, and from the music thing cracking off, that led me into meeting and getting with JT. You know, JT and them was doing their thing in Fillmore. We wasn't all cool like that, you know what I mean? We was like, and he was like, I was like, dude, just want y'all come over here, man, because, you know, we trying to get this stuff cracking, this music thing, man. It ain't finna happen if I ain't got the support from Fillmore and Sunnydale. I'm like, dude, y'all come over to Harbor right now. I'm gonna call my boy Narty. You know, he was kind of a factor down on Oakdale and stuff up in Hunters Point. I was like, I'm gonna call him. Dude, y'all come over here, and if anybody got problems with y'all or anything, we gonna just let them know. They can just have whoever they got a problem with, they can go one-on-one right now. You know what I mean? And JT came over there with all the little factors, Racklin, everybody, everybody from Fillmore. We came over with the factors, and they came to Harbor, and pretty much that was it. You know, there was a few dudes coming from West Points and Oakdales driving up there, like, you know, we seen them dudes driving through, so they thought they was coming to do a drive-by or something, so they all came up, and it was cool ever since. We had about 50, 60 to 100 dudes out there, all from Sunny Fillmore and Hunters Point, and everybody got the shaking hands, and we kicking. It was on ever since. We had a show at the Stone that weekend, I believe. It was like probably a week after that. Cracking. Sunnydale, Fillmore, Hunters Point, all in the house for the first time. Us, GLP, Richie Rich. There was a few of us all performing. Andre Nicotina. It was lovely. You know, and it's been on ever since. We've been good. Ever since that day, ain't been a problem. You know what I mean? Now it's inter-turf beef. You know, Hunters Point beefing with Hunters Point now. And Sunnydale, I feel more comfortable in Sunnydale and Fillmore than I do in Hunters Point. You know what I mean? And that's crazy because of the inner, you know, shit going on. You know what I mean? Yeah, but me and my boy JT, you know, I can't take all the credit, but, you know, I did, you know, JT and them pulled their strings on their side, and it happened to one of my boy Lonnie Green. He the one that actually made it happen. He was a Fillmore dude that stayed on Harbor. He the one, he had a pass, because he was a straight up Fillmore dude. He used to strut with Demon of the Minds and the little strutting group back in the days that did their thing. And he was part of that group, and he stayed on Harbor, and we was like, Black, man, this album's so hot, man, you need to be, man, it ain't gonna happen unless you talk to, like, man, we need to get Fillmore and all them up here, we need to squash the beef. And I'm like, man, you know, you got some numbers. And he the one that called JT and Racklin and all them, and that's how it happened. So I can't forget Lonnie Green. 91, I say, when we was kind of pushing to, actually before we dropped and went over there in a minute and did our thing, it was mainly like, Cool Nut was the man. He was one of the dudes that kind of motivated me too. One of the inspirations, like, man, I'm gonna get into this music thing. Cool Nut and you know, like I said, the Oakland scene was going on, 415. Forte was slightly doing this thing with, you know, here and there, you know what I mean, with Too Short. You know, we had like a Huey MC was like our underground thing that was going on. And Cool Nut was the big thing. Forte slightly tapping in, and who else we had? It was pretty much CTG. And yeah, one of the CTG, Claytus the Greatest, he was one of the dudes that kind of motivated me to get in the studio, because he actually took one of our tracks that we was pushing around Hunters Point, and that's what triggered me to go CTC. That right there, that one, if I never would have heard Claytus the Greatest song, I don't think RBL would probably be out with a real album. We still would have been just pushing it around Hunters Point. Because really at the time, I say Richie Rich was unique, but D-Lo and them was kind of like, sounded like NWA, and them kind of like, to me, they was like another NWA-ish type thing to me. D-Lo especially, he was sounding like Ice Cube to his brother Broski, and it was hard. But our style, I say, me and Mr. C kind of had a different, Frisco style was kind of different anyway. Like even Fillmore and Hunters Point, Fillmore had a different synthesized space age sound going on over on their end, versus like Hunters Point, we was working with a lot of samples and chopping up samples and dealing with a lot of like funk stuff. So me, TC, all of us, we was into like a lot of the cameos and funkadelics and stuff like that. So really, we was kind of all over the place in Frisco. I mean, really, to be honest with you, wouldn't really know. You can hear and say that's like a Frisco style until later on after RBL emerged. Then it was like the 11-5s and the Cold World Hustlers, and a lot of people was using them initials like RBL, 11-5, UDIs, and then I say a Frisco style kind of came, you know, after. Then, you know, you just kind of tell it was producing TC Studio high claps with the kicks and, you know, the hi-hats really like standing out a lot. You know what I mean? That was like a Frisco sound. Oakland was more like more funky, you know what I mean, like that my boy Ant Banks, and then, you know, they was like Dangerous Dame, and they had like a more funky sound. So it was kind of like different music production style, but I don't know, we pretty much all was, everybody was kind of like just all over the place a little bit to me. It wasn't no unique style like how you can hear LA, and they had that, you know, that little certain little, you know, swag and some LA slur and they little talking and whatnot. But no, it was just production-wise a difference to me. Mainly Bammer. That's definitely Frisco all the way, all day. You know what I mean? Anything else people can argue about. I don't really know. But as far as Bammer weed, just describing the weed as being Bammer, that's a Frisco, you know, word right there. You know what I mean? Uri, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was like little, like that's Frisco all day. I mean, I was finna say that. I didn't want to sound crazy on the camera though, but like Uri, yeah, that's definitely that's HP, really. You know what I mean? All day. That ain't really even a Frisco thing. That's more like an HP thing. It kind of started in HP and became a Frisco thing. But that was like a Hunters Point call, you know what I mean? That the OGs used to do back in the days. You know, call a dude down the block, Ori! You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean? Just a call. You know what I mean? Just sort of like how Master P and them try to come with the hootie hoo or something. And, you know, it's a few dudes like Richmond got a call now, like they be doing, you know, that when they yelling out to their dude, you be in a party somewhere and some dude from Richmond yell out their little word. I forgot their little call, but you know, it'd be about 40 deep around you, you know what I mean? 50 deep on you, you know what I mean, after that call. So it was one of those type things where you just yell it and, you know, people know you. You know, it's that Hunters Point call, you know. Gurpin, yeah, that's definitely something that kind of came from me and Mr. C, really. That was something that was just on the fly, just put it in a rap. Like, man, he be gurping, you know what I mean? That's like just drunk and high at the same time, and just, you know, just like gurping, just getting high, you know what I mean? Toe up, drunk and high, having a ball, you gurping, you know what I mean? Yeah, I do got a lot of favorites. Big Mac, Young Lot, Chaos from Westmont. Who else we got? Really, I'll stick with them three, and I feel like them three right there will take Hunters Point and Frisco in general, man, to the, you know, I don't really know too much about the Fillmore scene, really, you know what I mean, besides the San Quins and all them. You know, Quinn has always been my favorite. Him and Hitman is, I always had them like in a separate little, you know, they something different, they unique. You know, I love Quinn and Hitman was really my all-time favorite from Frisco. That's it, really, on my list, man, as far as who bring it. There's a lot of dudes who trying to do their thing, and, you know, they trying, but they just got to keep doing it, you know what I mean? They really don't deserve to be mentioned right now.